Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Wendy from Alexander's Aesthetics, and we are so happy to have Lisa from SkinScript on with us today. We've compiled some questions from the community that we'll get to, but before we do that, I wanted to just do a quick intro so we could get this rolling. The way that the GoToWebinar platform is set up, we can't hear you talk. So we want you to be able to find the question box and ask questions. Ask Lisa. That's why she's here, is to answer all your questions. So if you guys can take just a minute and go to your control panel and click on the questions box, go ahead and just put in where you are calling in from. We love to see the representation from around the country. It's fun for us to see where everyone's calling in from. Obviously, Lisa's in Arizona in their beautiful new facilities. And I am in Colorado. We had an ice storm last night, so I'm at home because I didn't want to drive. So we've got San Mateo, California. We have Colorado. We have Illinois. We've got all sorts of places that people are coming in from. So should be fun. Palm Beach, Florida. Yay, that's where I want to be right now. All right, thanks everyone. I will be in the background monitoring questions, so that's where you would put your questions in. I'll read them out to Lisa. If you have any problems, you can ask through there and I will monitor those as well. All right, so formal introduction for Lisa, who I know you all know, but Lisa, if you want to give us a quick little intro, that would be great.
Okay, well, welcome everybody, and thanks for having me. I'm Lisa VanBockern. I'm the owner and founder of SkinScript. Just a little bit of, background. Well, you know, I'm going to just tell my why I started SkinScript, because some people might be like, why? I was an esthetician working in med spas, and I worked with 2 physicians, 4 other estheticians. There's a total of 7 of us, and I was doing the ordering of all the products. We all wanted to cherry pick out of lines, and professional lines, and as you know, as I'd call these lines, they say, well, you can't just buy the one product, you have to buy the whole entry package, and some of those would be up, you know, towards $10,000. And I say, well, I just want the one product. So we could cherry pick out of lines, and that was kind of hard. So we weren't all getting what we wanted. And finally, I decided, you know what, I know a really good chemist in Chandler, Arizona, and I called him and I said, what does it take to make skincare? And he said, write a wish list. And so I got everybody together. It wasn't just me. We created our wish list. It took us a year to design the first version of SkinScript. We launched it in 2007, and we were selling it like crazy because they were our ideas and the product was working and it was changing skin. So that's how SkinScript got started. But once I realized, oh, I'm trying to work full-time as an esthetician and also have this skincare on the side. And so at that point I decided, you know what, I'm going to go out and try to market this to licensed estheticians, spas, salons throughout the US. But I was going to do it on 1, it was great product and I knew it worked. But 2 was I wasn't going to have minimums. So that's where I let you cherry pick out of the line, and we're friendly. I like to say that our customer service is up there. And then we do free shipping over $49, and we try to be fast. Believe me, I'm out there in shipping on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm like, come on, we got to get these orders out. So I push them. So that's kind of how SkinScript got started. We're 14 years into this. I am more in the gentle into progressive types of treatments. So I don't have anything that's going to be tearing up the skin. I don't have any real hardcore peels or anything like that. I love my fruit enzymes. We have gender neutral packaging, and why I say that is because when we were creating our packaging and our labels, we actually went to the mall and started soliciting people and saying, hey, do you find this packaging attractive? And we do it to men and women. So we came up with purples and silvers and teals. No minimum orders, great price point. We did our first price increase just last year for the first time in 14 years. Free shipping over $50. And then my seasonal products, which Wendy was asking me about these before we started the webinar, and she goes, why do you do the seasonal facials, or why did you do that? And or why do we do it? When I was in the treatment room, I was always looking for what's going to be my monthly special. You know, I have to do everything. I'm doing being an esthetician, I'm ordering supplies, I'm running a business, but then I also have to come up with marketing. And those seasonal facials, a lot of them are very gentle, mild, and they're just ideas so that you have something fresh and new for marketing and advertising. We have a great sampling program. For each retail product you purchase, you can get one retail sample, and they're not tiny little samples, they're decent sized samples. And then our SkinScript 101 you will find in our resource center online. So if you create an account online, you will find a learning center, and it's about an hour and a half, and it will teach you all about the products. But if you'd love to come down here, we just moved into a big, beautiful new office that I'm so excited about. We just started training last week, and believe me, we're wearing masks. We have the Lysol wipes out. We have the hand sanitizer. We have gloves on when we're eating. So we are trying to take all precautions being back in live trainings. But come down. It's a beautiful facility. It holds 56 people comfortably, and then we feed you as well. Hope that wasn't too lengthy.
No, that was perfect. Thank you. So a little bit about us. If you guys don't know Alexander's Aesthetics, we are a distributor. So Lisa allows us to distribute SkinScript, which is wonderful. It's just such an amazing product line. And a little bit about our supply store is we really like to add a personal touch to all of ours. So we like to know the products and the vendors. So our on-staff estheticians and our staff really know SkinScript, use SkinScript, and are really educated on it. So that's something a little bit about us. We also do offer wax supplies, lash and brow supplies, disposables, PPE, of course, for now, and sugaring supplies. So we are a one-stop shop for estheticians, and we do provide a lot of support, and we have some in-person classes. Our free shipping here says on online orders over 150. That's if you purchase like wax and other items from our store, but we honor all of SkinScript's pricing. So if you order just SkinScript, you get the same pricing that SkinScript offers in terms for drop shipping, regular orders, and we also do curbside pickup now. So just a little bit about us and Alexander. So thank you, Lisa, for the great partnership, and we appreciate it. All right, so how about if we jump into the questions? I'm gonna stop sharing our screen. Like I said, Farhana and Trini were online soliciting questions from the community. So we have a list of questions, but if you have other ones that we don't have, please feel free to put it in the question box, and I'll be monitoring that as we go through. All right, Lisa. First question, how can we go about doing multi-masking or mask cocktail / layering?
That's a big question. And I could go on for 20 minutes about this because SkinScript is so customizable, and that's what our training talks about. It talks about the different exfoliants. What's the difference between enzymes versus lactic, glycolic, salicylic, retinol, mandelics, mechanical exfoliation? And when you truly understand what all of those do, if you do a thorough skin analysis, and for example, let's say you do your skin analysis and you see, well, I'm seeing some larger pores in the T-zone, that might indicate to me that that person has some oiliness in their T-zone. I'm going to reach for salicylics. They might have some drier cheeks, smaller pores. I'm going to lean towards lactics. So, for example, our pomegranate enzyme already has 2% salicylic for that oily T-zone, 11% lactic for hydration, and then we put our butane in there for skin brightening. So pomegranate normal to oily skin. But suppose you want to, you go, well, I don't want the pomegranate all over. Could you just put the pomegranate in the T-zone and then maybe put coconut on the cheeks? Absolutely, you could do that. Could you say you've been using the pomegranate on your client for many months and you're like, well, I'd really like it to be a little bit stronger. Maybe you want to add some glycolic into it. So in that case, you could put your pomegranate into a dish, put a pump of glycolic into it. What if your client is normal to oily, but she has a few breakouts? What if you did the pomegranate all over and then during the masking section, just spot treat with our cranberry salicylic peel just on those blemishes? Let's see, do I have any? But you know, I could go on and on. There's cases too where, what if you have somebody and you've been working with them for a while and you love the lemon zest enzyme. It's brightening, and this would be a more aggressive protocol. You put on the lemon with steam, soften up the skin, you remove it. You could then afterwards, instead of mixing it in, you could put a layer of lactic acid. Now, will that make your lactic way more intense and create more flaking? Absolutely. Do you get the idea of how you can determine, based on what's going on with your client's skin, how you can make things more aggressive? If you do layering, you're going to get more aggressive treatments. If you do mixing, it will kind of buffer it down a little bit. And then if you want to accelerate it even more, you could put in some mechanical exfoliation such as microdermabrasion, dermaplaning, a polish, or a scrub, something like that. Does that, I hope that answers that question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. We get this question a lot. Which products and masks are good for vajacials?
Okay, so I have been asked that question a lot as well. We have not tested the products in that area, and so we don't write a protocol for it, nor do we know how it's going to be absorbed by those mucous membranes. So at this point, I do not make a recommendation because they haven't been created for that area. They have not been tested in that area, so I don't have a recommendation. But I know people are out there doing it, but they're kind of doing that on their own.
Okay, thank you. Next question, what about back facials? What's the ideal product for back facials?
So I polled my staff around here as well, who are all estheticians, and I got their input as well. So my favorite for a back facial is the pumpkin enzyme. I also like it for the hands as well because it's one of the most aggressive enzymes. I feel like it's strong enough for body parts. So me personally, I like the pumpkin. Jessica said that she likes the raspberry scrub with an enzyme of your choice, such as the lemon zest. So she likes raspberry scrub with lemon zest for a back facial. And she's also doing, so she's cleansing twice, raspberry scrub with the lemon zest. She actually does extractions on the back. She does high frequency, chooses a serum, a moisturizer, or a mask per the skin type. She likes the seaweed and a moisturizer. Nissa, her comments were she likes raspberry cleanser to cleanse with because that's going to be a little bit more aggressive for body parts. And she likes the retinol scrub layered under the blueberry enzyme with steam. She also does back extractions. She likes the strawberry spearmint mask and either the light aloe or the cactine moisturizer.
Okay, good sampling. That was a good idea I thought that Lisa had told us when we did the run through that she had asked her staff, and we just thought that was such a good idea because it's always good to hear other people's opinions. So that was, thank you for that. Let's see, next question. Why can you use the glycolic and retinol pads with your peels if retinols and peels usually don't mix?
So we're using our glycolic and retinol pads to degrease the skin, but also to allow some of those tyrosinase inhibitors, the kojic and arbutin, to penetrate into the skin. So while the retinol may be offset by a peel, it's not going to stop the peel from working. But we're using them namely for degreasing the skin and for delivering tyrosinase inhibitors, namely kojic and arbutin, into the skin.
Okay, great. Okay, question about retail treatments. What is the best way to open a conversation with your clients about home care when they've been resistant?
So I never push. You know, I'll meet somebody, I'll tell them I'm an esthetician, and the first thing they say is, oh, I can't use anything. My skin is so sensitive. And I usually just stop there. I don't push things on them because they don't want to be pushed on this. Or if they are coming in for a treatment, if they're just completely resistant, I listen to what they have to say. But I always recommend, it is my professional duty to at least check off the prescription pad, what I recommend and why, and the price, and I leave it at that. If they want to buy it, they can buy it. If they don't have to. So, but what I will tell them, I've got two things to say. I will give them my little elevator speech. And my elevator speech is when they say, hey, I bought a moisturizer from XYZ drugstore. What do you think? And I go, when you buy professional products, or when you're buying products over the counter, you're getting the least common denominator of active skincare ingredients so the general public doesn't harm themselves. When you buy professional products, you're getting higher percentages and lower pHs. And the perfect example of that is our Glycolic cleanser. It has a 17% glycolic with a pH of 3. You're not going to find that over the counter. Why do I always recommend a whole line as well? You know, people will say, well, I use a cleanser and a moisturizer and an SPF. And I'll say, okay, but what are you doing to exfoliate to get all that dead skin off so that you can drive your serums in and then seal it up with a moisturizer and an SPF? And then they go, oh, I got to get the dead skin off so the serums can get in and penetrate and treat, such as vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. And it just makes them think, don't push them, come back. I bet you anything they'll buy it. But I do want to stop and tell a story on this one, because this is the power of retail. When I was working in the med spa, we would sell our series as series of 6. And so it was that each esthetician's responsibility. If you sold a series of 6, you've got to get your client to that clinical endpoint that they're looking for. It's either pigmentation, acne, fine lines, whatever it is. So one of the other estheticians I was working with went out on maternity leave, and her client came in, and I inherited her clients, and I thought I did my due diligence. I'm reading my notes and I'm seeing the peels they're doing, and they're doing some pretty aggressive peels. We're halfway through the series, and I'm like, okay, got it. I know what we're going to do. So I walk in and I say, hi, Mrs. Jones, I'm Lisa, and I'm going to be taking over for the other esthetician. And she looks at me and she says, listen, we're not getting anywhere in this peel series. I paid a lot of money for it and nothing is happening. I haven't peeled once. And I stopped and I put my head down and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, you haven't peeled at all? And I'm looking at the file and I'm thinking, these are some pretty aggressive peels. She should be peeling. And it took me about 1 minute of standing there. I go, oh, what are you using for home care? And she goes, I don't want home care. Don't try to sell me home care. I use my soap in the shower and I use oil of Olay. And I just went, my shoulders went down. I go, do you realize that all of that moisturizer and the waxes have just built up on the skin and my peels can't penetrate? I've got to do some exfoliation and prep on the skin so that these peels can penetrate. She goes, all right, I'll take one product. That's it, one. And I'm like, okay, so I gave her the Glycolic cleanser. We didn't do a treatment. I sent her home. I said, use this every day for a week, not over the eyes because it's, it's a treatment cleanser. She comes back in the following week. We do the peels and they start to work. And the last 3 peels, the the peels penetrate, we are exfoliating the pigmentation, working on fine lines, and at the end she was very happy and she ended up buying more home care. But the whole point of this story is, in the beginning, could we have persuaded her to buy the home care? No, she was pretty resistant. But once we got halfway through the peels and it wasn't working, and then she started seeing it working, I mean, that was it. The home care is, 80% of the treatment sometimes. That's my story on home care.
Yes, hadn't heard that one before. That's interesting. That's good. What products do you recommend for a mini facial protocol?
So it's your choice, but I love doing mini facials. When when we'd have open houses, I'm one of those people that I'm not a chit chatter. So I said, put me to work because I can't come up with small talk. So what they would do is they would schedule me 20-minute facials every 20 minutes. So I do 3 an hour. So at these open houses, I would be in the treatment room and I would bring them in. I would cleanse. I would just do a quick skin analysis and I would either do coconut, enzyme, lemon zest, or blueberry, and everything was all heated up, ready to go. And I would do one of those 3 enzymes, coconut, lemon, or blueberry, leave it on for 5 to 7 minutes, and I would talk to the person and write notes while I'm talking to them, think about their skin, write them a prescription pad of what to use for home care. I'd remove that. I would do serums, moisturizers, and SPF, and I would send them out the door, and that was 20 minutes, and I absolutely loved doing those little mini facials.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. I'm writing notes while you're talking too, so this is good. What products can I micro/nano needle with?
So I don't do that treatment. And so I asked, I have 3, actually 4 ladies here in the office that do that treatment. And they all are in the same thing. You want to use what is ever recommended by whoever's supplying your equipment. And pretty much it all came back pure hyaluronic acid. You do not want a nano needle or micro needle through things like our hyaluronic acid because it has peptides in it. It has a lot of other things that could create a histamine response. So use pure hyaluronic acid, and you'd probably get that from the company that is selling you your equipment.
Okay, thank you. What is your go-to? What's your go-to for product for facial massage or product manipulation?
Well, for product manipulation, I will paint, say an enzyme on with a fan brush, and then I'll just manipulate it into the skin, say for a minute using my fingertips. But when it comes to massage, my favorite is my seaweed mask because it heats up. But one of your questions on here is, why does the seaweed mask sometimes burn? And I'll say it should be more tingly. So the seaweed mask has tea tree in it, and you can feel that. So what I do, and this is the way I like to do my protocol, I will cleanse, exfoliate, I'll do my extractions, and then I put on my serums. And your serums can act as a buffer because when you put on your seaweed mask, now you're not going to feel as much tingle. Usually I will say that people are feeling tingle because they're dry, they're sensitive, their immune system is reacting somehow to it. So if I put on that hyaluronic acid first, it kind of buffers it. And then I tell my clients, hey, I'm gonna put on our seaweed mask. It will feel cool going on. It will warm up and it can have a tingle effect. If it feels like it's tingling too much, just let me know and I'll remove it, but tingle is good. And once they know that, they're like, oh, okay, I do feel it and it has that sensation. But then when you start massaging with it, the skin just plumps because you're putting all that hydration in and it starts to have a warming effect.
Right. Can you explain frosting and why it happens for some but not for everyone?
So frosting is going to happen with beta peels or oil-based peels. Specifically, you will see it with salicylics, TCAs, Gesners. I don't have a Gesners. You don't see it very often with ours. Our salicylic is in that cranberry cream base and it offers a buffering, and then our TCA is mild, but you still can see frosting. It just usually isn't the full face of frosting. A lot of times you'll see it around the nose wings, but the most areas you'll see it is maybe where somebody's had a breakout or a blemish. So your skin is at 100% equal. When you apply a peel, it's going to penetrate more in certain areas than others. And that might be because you've had a breakout in a certain area, that skin is susceptible. And that's generally where you'll see frosting occur. Is a frosting is the proteins of the skin coagulating. Do not try to wipe it off. It goes away in a couple of hours. You'll just want to get a mirror out, point out to the client, hey, see this area right here where this white little frosting is? That's where the peel has penetrated. Just want to make sure you're aware of it. Just don't, it's going to get extra dry there, extra flaky. Just make sure you're not picking or pulling on that skin. If it gets too irritating, you can use some cortisone cream from the drugstore, but otherwise just let it be, let it do its work because it's penetrated there.
Okay. Can the retinol scrub be applied with all enzymes or just the blueberry?
It definitely could be applied with all enzymes. And so here's why you're using it. Why would you put down retinol scrub with an enzyme? Retinol is a derivative of vitamin A. And when you think about your highest form of vitamin A on the market, it's Accutane, right? And Accutane is awesome for acne, except we want to try to avoid it if at all possible. So you've got Accutane, and what it's doing is it's drying up that oil in the pore, and it's kind of cleaning out the pores by drying it all up. So you have Accutane, then you have Retin A, still a prescription. At an aesthetic level, we're using retinols. So when I do my skin analysis and I see that somebody has impacted pores or blackheads, I'll put down a layer of retinol scrub, manipulate it in with my fingertips, and I do that under steam. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want that to get into the pore, kind of work on that follicle lining, loosen up that impaction, and then I can put whatever enzyme is appropriate right on top. So if you're working on blackheads, generally a blueberry is the most appropriate, but if they're dry, you can use, lemon, you can use whatever one you want. Now keep in mind when you do this layering technique that they could flake and get, you're making a more aggressive treatment by layering. And a lot of times if it's just right here, I'll just put the retinol scrub right where the acne impactions are.
Okay. You answered the question why the seaweed mask sometimes burn. Is there anything you need to add to that?
No, it has that tea tree, and what I'll say is just put some hyaluronic acid underneath it before applying it, and then just letting your client know that it'll be tingly, and usually that does it. But it's awesome for plumping and hydrating the skin.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great product. What products can you use to treat fungal acne?
This one I put a lot of thought to because, in our skin intensive, we'll say if you ask 10 different estheticians how to treat acne, you'll get 10 different answers. So there's a lot of different answers, but I think the hardest thing with fungal acne is first identifying it as fungal acne, because fungal acne won't respond to traditional antibacterial types of treatments. So with traditional acne, you're dealing with an overproliferation of bacteria, and we're trying to kill bacteria, and that's what acne products are doing, is they're trying to kill bacteria. But with fungal activity, acne, it's an overgrowth of yeast. So in that case, it means we don't have enough good bacteria to balance out that yeast. So you first have to really talk to your client about what's going on, like what's their diet like. And I remember years ago having a client, he was a teen, and he drank a 6-pack of Pepsi every day. Well, too much sugar will do that. So a diet can create an internal too much sugar, because that sugar is just feeding the yeast. Perspiration, not being able to, oh dear, is that me?
What's that?
Sorry.
You're good.
I think that's me, isn't it?
I can see you.
There we, oh, is something popping up there?
No, I don't see anything.
Okay. On my screen there was. Okay, back to the fungal acne, but identifying it, looking at the root cause, but then I say my advice is stay away from salicylics, because salicylics kill bacteria, and then in that case, this is not what we want to do. We want to get the good bacteria, we want to feed it. And so ingredients like fructooligosaccharides are a probiotic and actually will feed good bacteria. So you will find that in our cucumber toner, the ageless hydrating serum. And so you're hydrating, you want to exfoliate. So while this might sound a little crazy for acne, this is one answer, is putting them on pomegranate creamy cleanser, because that pomegranate is oil-based. That oil will feed the healthy bacteria triglycerides, which will then get the bacteria and the yeast in balance. Maybe raspberry scrub and Cactine moisturizer. So just to repeat, my opinion is pomegranate creamy cleanser, raspberry scrub, cucumber toner, ageless hydrating serum to feed the good bacteria, and Cactine moisturizer. When I went around and I asked some of the staff, I go, what do you do if you see it? And they all agreed too. They go, it's not something, fungal acne isn't something you see every day. You might see it with younger teens who are perspiring a lot, not cleansing, using a towel, it's kind of, the teen thing where they're just, perspiration can bring that on, but it's the overgrowth of yeast. But they said, one, identifying it, and they all had different ideas. Jessica would say the green tea cleanser to maintain healthy bacteria, and the ageless serum, cucumber toner, and then our golden honey hydrating mask is awesome for that. And then other people have said, a dandruff shampoo, which I completely agree with. That's not something we sell, but when you do identify it as fungal acne, it's itchy. It looks like pustular acne, but it doesn't respond to salicylic and glycolics. Try, feeding the healthy bacteria, dandruff shampoo. So ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. That's what I have to say about acne.
Thank you. And last question that we have here, and anyone, if you guys, again, if you have other questions, we still have a few things that we're going to be talking about after this question's answered, but put those questions in the question box and we can get those addressed. But last question on the list, retinaldehyde serum versus glycolic retinol pads. In what instances do you recommend one over the other?
Okay, so I asked the staff too, and it's all over the board. It's finding your favorites, but specifically for lifting pigmentation, I like the glycolic and retinol pads. They have kojic and arbutin with a pH of 3. They have the ability to travel to the communicate down to the tyrosinase enzyme and the melanocyte, do some gentle exfoliation. If you're lifting pigment, I'm telling you, hands down, those glycolic pads are amazing. You can also use them 2 to 3 times a week just for gentle exfoliation. And just so you know, our glycolic pads are our #3 seller in the retail line. If anybody else wants to know what our top sellers are, it's cucumber toner in the retail, then green tea cleanser, and then the glycolic retinol pads are #3. But then retinaldehyde, maybe if they are sensitive to glycolic or they're experiencing some irritation with glycolic, retinaldehyde for, you can use it on a daily basis, use it at night, more aging skin, but it also has lightening. But I'm going to tell you, for brightening and lightening the skin, hands down glycolic pads, but retinaldehyde maybe for more mature aging skin.
Okay, great. We did get a question that came in from Sabrina. When would you recommend using the beta carotene renewal serum? She says it's her favorite product and she recommends it to almost everyone because it's cleared up her skin so much. What else can go with it or should be avoided? I can break that down if you want.
Because I think the beta carotene, because it's a more natural form of vitamin A, people are like, oh, that's not going to do anything. The whole reason I designed it was for people that couldn't have acids and needed exfoliation. So I really designed the the raspberry scrub to be used 2 to 3 times a week, with the beta carotene used every day at night. So you're getting dual exfoliation, but the beta carotene is your plant-based version of a vitamin A. It's got the papain in it to be exfoliating, but it is so softening and hydrating and doesn't create irritation to the skin. It's an amazing product, but those two, raspberry scrub and beta carotene, were created for pregnant women or people that just couldn't have acids.
Okay, great. Is there anything that should be avoided to use with it?
No, I don't have any contraindications on this one.
Okay, all right, great. Sabrina, hopefully that answered your question. If you have a follow-up question, just let us know. All right, I'll keep monitoring the questions, but I wanted to pop over. Let's see here if I can do this. I wanted to pop over back into our PowerPoint so Lisa can talk a little bit about the seasonal sets. Let's see here if that comes up. So since these are so popular, I know we talked a little bit about it, but since these are so popular, we just wanted to kind of reemphasize why you do these, and just, you know, a little bit about the seasonal sets and
what I had in mind. You know, seasonal ones are hard because if you asked me, my 3 that I started with were coconut for sensitive skin, lemon for normal to dry skin with pigment, and pomegranate for normal to oily skin with pigment. So all of these others were just kind of variety for me. But being in the treatment room, we all love variety, and we can't use the same thing over and over and over. So I like to do seasonal ones, and for the most part, I try to keep seasonal enzymes pretty mild. So what we've got right now is, actually, I think we're just selling out of the orange right now. Orange enzyme, which is 4% lactic, 1% glycolic. I'm straining my memory here. And then, but orange is a beautiful exfoliation. It smells great, and I pair that with the goji berry. And then for Valentine's, we have the cherry chocolate. I think we're selling out of the chocolate right now too. And cherry, normal combination skin with pigmentation. Now on the chocolate, people will say, why does that have a sensation or a feeling? Chocolate is from cacao, and cacao can be very stimulating to the skin. So it is very normal for the skin to flush with chocolate. And people just need to be aware of that. If you feel some heat, just a little bit of tingle, but that flushing of the skin is an exchange of toxins and brightens the skin and gives your skin a nice healthy glow. Yeah, coming up in March, we have the grape, which is very mild, paired with the marbleberry. And marbleberry is kind of an interesting antioxidant. We meet with ingredient companies, and they come up with these really cool ideas that there's actually a marbleberry, and they say that it holds on to its antioxidant properties for a greater length of time. So that's what's kind of neat about the marbleberry. But anyway, that's why I do them, is because We want something fun to advertise and talk to our clients about and something new to work with. And you know what I have to add to this, Wendy? People will say, why can't I have more new ones? Why do you repeat these? And you know what? I've got to tell you, creating a new one, they're hard. It's hard to do. We create a lot of them, but only a few of them actually make it to our shelf. You know, we have some crazy ideas, and some of them, you know, like a couple of years ago, people are like, I want a watermelon one. And I'm telling you, that watermelon one just did not work. So no, we didn't come out with a watermelon enzyme. It just wasn't working for us. So we have a lot of ideas, but it takes time for testing and evaluating and making sure that they work before we put them out there.
Okay, thank you. Watermelon sounds like it would be wonderful, right? And so fresh in summertime.
We tried a banana one once, and of course it turned brown. It was like baby food. And we like, okay, no banana.
That's funny. How many facials can you get out of a seasonal set?
So if you used a quarter of an ounce or about 1 teaspoon, so you kind of have to measure it out, you'd get 16 treatments. That's 1/6, 16.
Okay, 16, great. We got another question that came in from Kayla. She said cherry enzyme is the first enzyme that she used and it burnt her around her mouth and nose. Is there a barrier we can use around those sensitive areas for clients?
You can definitely, if you already know that they're sensitive, you can definitely put Vaseline or petroleum, you know, around those areas. But if you ever want to buffer an enzyme down, just mix it with a nourishing mask. So something like the cherry mixed with the goji berry, you get the effect of it, but you're buffering it down. And now keep in mind too, the cherry, you know, has a combination of 10% acid. So while it looks and smells amazing, you have to stop and think, oh, well, I am kind of doing a mini peel on somebody. So if they do get dry and flaky in certain areas, you know, it can happen. I would just say lean towards enzymes that don't have any acids in them.
Okay, great. Trini has a question on the yuzu set. She said, why was the yuzu set so spicy? Did you get any feedback on that?
You know what, we're really evaluating the, we don't think it was the yuzu, because what was interesting about that set, if you'd use the yuzu and the cherry blossom sakura mask separately, you would not get this tingle factor, but when you use them together, we would get this high sensation. And we haven't come up with the exact answer yet. We tried doing some reformulations and messing with it a little bit this year, and we just kept coming up with yuzu and this cherry blossom wood. So I think we're just going to make better instructions this year that you can feel some sensation, but we haven't pinpointed it to exact ingredients of what together is creating that.
Okay, great. All right, thanks you guys for all those questions. Let us know if there's anything else that comes up or if we didn't answer those correctly. Anything else on seasonal sets, Lisa? You good?
Me?
Yeah, you have anything else you want to add before I move on?
No,
on seasonal?
I have some new ones coming out this year. They're not here yet, so I won't talk about them, but we do have a couple of new ones. And I hope everybody loved the for Christmas, we had the Swiss pine and I can't even remember what it was. It was the Swiss pine and the birch mask. I hope everybody loved that. I absolutely adored that set. So we'll definitely ordering more of that next year.
Yeah, our clients loved it too. It was really nourishing. You know, they felt, that's just what they kept saying. Okay, great. Well, we can't wait to see the new ones coming out. It's always exciting to see what creative ideas you guys come up with.
Thanks.
All right. There was a question. We've had a couple questions about if this is being recorded, and the answer is yes, it is. At the end, if you enrolled in this class, you'll get an email with a link, but we also have all of our previous webinars up on our website as well at Alexander's Aesthetics, and you can view it from there. But if you're enrolled in this, you're going to get an email with a link to that as well. So yes, you will get a recording. All right, I wanted to just wrap it up. We have a couple classes coming up at Alexander's Aesthetics. We're trying to do some virtual training. We have a lash lift class coming up. We also have a Spa Business 101 class coming up, which is kind of a new thing for us, but just helping estheticians understand the basics of running a spa business and things you need to think about and do. Great for students, or if you're new or thinking about branching out on your own. It's just an amazing class. These are all can be signed up for on our website. And then we also have a lash tint class, lash and eyebrow tint class with Reflecticil. California is now allowing lash and brow tinting in their state. So that was big news. So we're putting that out there so our California clients can now learn how to do that as well. So just wanted to put a few things out there. And I know I should have put a slide up of all the training coming up at SkinScript too, because there's a lot. I don't know if you want to, talk about that.
You can definitely come to our website. We have a lot of Reboot classes offered, and the Reboot classes are 3-day classes, and they're designed for estheticians, maybe who have gotten their license but maybe never used it, and they're like, oh, I can't remember how to do a facial again. So like we do theory in the morning, and we actually do facials and chemical peels in the afternoon, and that's 3 days long. That's called our Reboot class, and that one is offered a lot. We've got that one on the schedule like 3 times a month. And then our Skin-Tensive is definitely worth the trip. Skin-Tensive is about the layers of the skin, how ingredients affect those layers, and how to put together a treatment plan for your client based on a good skin analysis.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yes, and I would say everybody needs to go down and see the new training facility at SkinScript, because Trini, our long-staff esthetician, was just there and just thought it was amazing. Nina had a question about Reflecticil being FDA approved, and the answer is no. None of the, from what I've understood, none of the lash tints are FDA approved unless they're like plant-based, which some are being under approval. But Nina, I can send you an email with some information about that later. I have your email and your registration. So I just wanted to let you know I saw the question come through, and we can chat about that a little bit later. All right. So thank you, Lisa, so much for joining us and answering our clients' questions. As always, we appreciate it. And thanks. Yeah, you bet. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we hope to see you again, either at an Alexander's Aesthetics class or at a SkinScript class. So thanks and have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.